Okay. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Two Tutors Talking. I am your host, Audrey Codner, and I'm hoping everyone is doing well today. I just had a lovely and fun, entertaining morning. So, this is going to be fun times. So, I just want to introduce you, as I always do, to another tutor that you can put into your resource arsenal. It's someone that is actually originally from New Jersey, with me being a Philly girl. It's like my sister. And now she is actually living in England and she's teaching primary students with a lot of the reading comprehension. So I definitely want to introduce you to Miss Cara, as some people say Cara over there, but we over here we say Cara Cook from two oh, let me get my thing up there. There you go. Founders of Just to Imagine Tutors. How are you?
I am very good. Thank you for having me, Audrey. I'm so excited to be here. This is so
Excited
fun.
too.
And
It's like a
hello
reunion of two.
everyone. I'm Cara or Cara, and I'm a Jersey girl. Jersey girl, hey. So hello to all my peeps in New Jersey. Hey, how you doing? And I just wanted to say my journey has been kind of crazy. I
Tell
started
us.
off in central New Jersey. I went off to London and then I went down to Virginia and then back to England. So I've just been all over the place. And when I went to England the first time, that's when I met my husband. He's British. So and we've been living here for about 15 years. My son is 15, so you can tell how long we've been here. He was about 4 months old when we first arrived. So it
Oh,
was quite a long time ago.
oh, nice.
Yeah, and
See,
he's
this is
fabulous. He's although he's a teenager, he really is. He's wonderful. He's such a sweet kid. And one of the things about being a teacher, I was a teacher for 24 years, and
Mhm.
I just like I went from different schools. I taught English over in the States. I came here and I did primary education, and then you know COVID hit, and it was just kind of like, okay, what do I do now? So and at the time I'm a doer. I'm always like somebody who loves to be involved in things and get just have something that I'm doing. So I tried all sorts of different things. I did made bracelets.
Oh, nice.
I was started at writing a novel, for kids.
Okay.
I mean, it was just kind of crazy. And my son was actually the one that it just kind of hit home because he said, Mom, why are you always starting all these new things and then never sticking to it? And that's when I kind of realized, I was like, you know what? I love kids. I've got to be around kids. So and that's kind of how I got started with tutoring. Was I got a job as an online tutor. This was just when the school started to go back,
Okay.
and I started tutoring older kids, and it wasn't on my terms because it was through a school, through an agency and everything. And I thought, I could do this myself. I could organize it a lot better. Actually
Right.
have the kids
Right.
show up, you know and actually get something done with them. So I just bit the bullet and just said, okay, I'm going to start. I'm going to give it a go. And that's when Just to Imagine Tutors was born. And
Lovely.
and it's just kind of like I kind of went full circle, I think, in my career because, you
Mhm.
know, I I had gotten a master's degree in early years. And when I had started teaching, I was teaching early years as a
Mhm.
preschool teacher. And then my last job was as a preschool teacher. So I kind of was like, okay, where do I go with all of this knowledge and everything? And I wanted to kind of be able to help children learn. I think that was the main thing, give them that confidence. So when I first started tutoring, I was teaching everything. I was like, oh, I could do maths, I could do English, I could do, 11 plus, GCSEs, why not, anything that anybody was interested. I was like, okay, I'll give it a go and just try it. And then I was like, no, 3 years later, I'm like, no, I've got to
Burnt
do
out.
this for me. It's got to be what I'm passionate about and what I do best. And it's English, it's literacy. It always has been, always will be. So now I'm just getting started with doing some group tutoring. So I'm just
Okay.
starting to get children interested in doing that, doing some phonics tutoring. I, the majority of my students are between the ages of 4 and 11. So
Okay.
that's my real niche. But I also help
Okay.
children with dyslexia as well. So,
Oh,
I
good.
had that specialism a little bit, just from background of teaching loads of different children. I've seen it all
Mm.
basically. I'm from New Jersey,
Oh,
I
just,
think, that says enough, right?
that
Exactly.
turnpike is serious. Well, if anything, in your sessions, like it sounds like you went through a huge whirlwind. And at the same time, you later on found your niche. You're like, okay, I love kids. Let me just really stick to the primary kids. Now, of the kids in your sessions, like what are some of the things that you notice that can kind of help parents to kind of identify that, ooh, we might need something to assist our child with? So what are you noticing in your sessions?
So one of the things that I notice a lot with children is that, they come in and they don't really know how to learn. Like they don't really
Mm,
have that kind of background, like, because they're in a classroom with 30 kids. They don't really have that understanding of what learning is really all about. So that's something that I always focus on with my students. I want them to have that growth mindset. I want them to, be passionate and want to learn. I want them to have that in them. And so we do a lot of like finding what their interests are. I think that's really key. So, although I do phonics, we do other things as well. We had a project for learning about pandas, and we found out all the sorts of different things about pandas. So it wasn't just learning to read. It was also reading to learn, finding out information. And they loved it. We were watching funny videos. We were like, finding out all sorts of different things. And now they're like, I've got a bunch of like fanatics. They'll show me like all these like different things. So, and I just got one of these this week. So I
mm,
add that one into my lesson now. So it's all about kind of making it fun for the kids. And that's how I really motivate them. And I think for parents, you've got to find a tutor that fits your child. Think
mm,
about, you know, what, how does this tutor teach? If it's an online lesson, you can find a tutor that's going to be from different places. They're going to have some kind of expertise. And it's
mm,
flexible as well, which is fantastic. Another thing about online tutoring is that, you can find a tutor that can really kind of personalize the learning. And in a lesson, kids can really kind of, they get to know you, and if they had to be in person, they might not interact as much as they do when they're online as well. So I think
mm.
that that's something, the difference between the online and the in-person tutoring, I think, is something that I find that kids are a lot more relaxed in an online situation as well.
And it seems like because I'm starting to get an increase of parents coming out and reaching out to tutors, and some of them have never done a tutor before because, especially our age, like when we grew up, it wasn't like, oh, everyone has access to a tutor. And now that we're tutors, we know that world. But a lot
Yeah.
of parents don't really know, okay, I know my child needs help, but how do I get that help? But then it comes down to what you were kind of saying with the online piece. There's a lot of parents that are fearful
Hmm.
of having their
Absolutely.
child being online. I thought like before the pandemic, definitely a lot of people are like, nope, okay, very limited. You're only online for 30 minutes. Okay, that's it. But then when the pandemic hit, it opened up a lot of things. But now that people are able to socialize a little bit more, there's a lot of parents thinking that, okay, my child can't learn online because of the experience they had during the pandemic. Now, my question to you is like, what would you say when a person, like a parent, reached out to you and said, oh, you do online? Well, I really want in person. Like, what would you like kind of do to like maybe even explain? Or I know what I would do, but I kind of want to hear from your end because you have the younger students, whereas I have
Yes.
older
Well, I
ones.
think that is something that a lot of parents are kind of like a little reluctant, because their children are so young, they might be 5. Are they going to be, motivated in the lesson? Is it going to be interactive enough? And I always tell them, well, find out, let me do a little lesson with them so they can see how it is. And they have during the lesson, my students have a mini whiteboard. So if I do it with a group of children, they'll have their mini whiteboards, they do their writing on here, and then they can show it to me, because that's my proof, that's my understanding of where they are at, if they're getting on with it. And and it's I only do very small groups. I don't do more than 4 children, because
Okay.
to me, that's what would work. If it was in person, it would be an
Mhm.
intervention. When I was teaching, I had 32 5-year-olds. It was crazy.
Wow.
And I never could feel like I was reaching all of them. I felt
Yep.
like lost, and a lot of the times the TA, the teaching assistant, she would be pulled out. She would have, a child that she had to be with, that had
Right.
autism or something like that. So, it was always me with all these kids and trying to manage it and putting them into groups, because that's always what I found worked really well, because I always
Mhm.
had like children working with each other. But in a online tutoring session, children, they get to have that socialization. So that's like
Yeah.
the best part, I think, is that they're learning from each other. And 5-year-olds, 4-year-olds, 6-year-olds, they love to hear from, their friends. They love to like get feedback from each other rather than me. They'd
Right.
rather hear it from each other, and then they get a little bit competitive, like who can write the longest sentence. Well, they're gonna, and they want to be the one that can do that, but they can learn from each other, from their mistakes as well. They can pinpoint what they did wrong, and how they can fix it. And my lessons are short, they're only 30 minutes. So I do
Okay.
two 30-minute sessions a week, and they go by so quickly. I mean, and
Mhm.
it's so much that we are actually learning. It's not just about the phonics, it's not just about the sounds, it's not just about, the letter formations and the writing. It's not just about that, but they're also learning about, how to uh, self-regulate, and
Yes.
finding out what they're proud of. So at the end of the lesson, we always share, like, what are you proud of, that you've accomplished today. So it's about that as well, so that making sure that they're not just learning about the subject, but they're also learning about themselves, and being able to really get the most out of it. And that's where they start to really thrive and grow. And you see them wanting to come to the lessons.
Yes, that's amazing. So before I get to the next question, if you are here live, go ahead and hit hashtag live. If you're here for the replay, hit hashtag replay because it helps with the algorithm. So now, with all these, a lot of the things that you were saying was similar to what I see. At the end of the lesson, I always like to do some kind of questioning, not just on the concept, but also how are you doing? How you feeling? I always try to gauge, of course, where their cameras are on, we tried to push for that. I can actually see when they're like struggling a little bit because their facial expressions kind of change and their
Exactly.
posture
Yeah.
changes and everything. So, like, if you're a tutor and you're just like, oh, well, you don't have to have your camera on, you're going to have to make some adjustments because eventually, with those slight cues, it kind of tells us, okay, maybe I'm pushing a little too much. Maybe I need to retract. Okay, when I said this, I noticed a shift in your body. Talk to me. And even at the end of the lesson, you ask those questions like, okay, what did you do best in? And a lot of those things should be happening as well in all your sessions. So, if anything, things that parents should look out for, knowing that I think their child needs a tutor. What are some things based on your expertise that what parents should look for to basically get your services?
So I think with reading, if your child really struggles to sound out those words and blend it together, that's definite. You need to like start to really work with that with your child. And it may mean that, if they're a bit older, that means that it could be dyslexia as well. There's
Mm.
all sorts of different things that it could be. But if they're not quite getting it, because the beginnings of literacy, of learning how to read, are so important. And if they don't get it, and if they're in the classroom of 30 children and they're not getting it, it's not going to get any better. It's going to get worse before it gets any better. And we all know that, without learning how to read, you're not going to be able to do maths either. You won't
Right.
be able to do those math problems, the word
Yep.
problems and things. So it's so crucial to make sure that you're looking for those signs. And if you you know try a few things with them, and they're still struggling, then it's time to maybe look into getting a tutor. And I think I really stress to parents that look local. Don't, go all over the place looking for a tutor. Look local. Do a
Mhm.
Google search. I always come up, if you put in primary tutor Eastleigh, I will definitely come up. But you have to do that scroll. You got to go past, the ones I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
All those paid ads.
Paid
You got
ads.
to go scrolling back, and then I'll be there. But you got to go past those, because you're going to be supporting a small business, and you want one tutor, or maybe two tutors. You don't want to like have like an agency, or some kind of recruitment that has like, we've got 50 tutors to choose from, but there's only one that's going to match your
Right.
child. And those are going to be the ones that you're going to pay the most for too. So
True.
another thing is, ask your friends, ask other parents. Parents aren't going to necessarily go, hey, I have a tutor. They're not going to say that. You have to ask. You have to find out, oh, do you know anybody that you could recommend? And probably, 9 out of 10, they probably have used a
Mhm.
tutor. And, whether it's the age group normally that kids start to do tutoring is probably, I would say, probably from like 8 onwards. It seems like that's the kind of age group. But it's getting younger. you know
Yes.
so, and
Yeah.
another thing that you could do is to really think about what that tutor's, what they're all about. Find out, like, how do they do their lessons. Does it meet
Mhm.
with your child's learning how they learn best. So if they do a lot of interactive type activities, that might be best for them. But maybe your child's a visual learner, so they need something different. So think about that as well. And do a trial session, even if you have to pay for it. I think that's really so important, because you want to make sure that you've found the right match. And you'll know with your gut if this is going to be the right person, because you'll feel that rapport and you'll see it with your child as well.
And that's exactly true, because a lot of people are thinking, well, let me see if I can get someone that, okay, you're cheap. Okay, you fit my budget. But sometimes you might look out, maybe that budget alignment works. But then when you talk about the big businesses, a lot of them, you might not have the same tutor every session. So there's
Yeah.
always like, okay, I had a really good connection with Kara. Oh, I can't get her anymore. Like, what happened? Oh, she's booked. So we got Audrey. Well, I don't want Audrey. My child really liked
Never
Kara,
happened.
like, why should I go there? And that's why, as always, because I also talk to other people who are tutors, and I always make the suggestion, you should have like a welcome video. If you have a website or a landing page, there should always be a welcome video on there, so you can actually see or hear a little bit. You want to be able to hear the person's voice. You want to see how fast. Do they talk really fast? Do they talk really slow? Are they patient? Are they excitable? Um, so you can get a lot from someone's personality from even some of the Facebook posts that they do, or if they do a reel. And it could be something small as that. In 2 minutes, you can really figure out roughly how a person is just within that 2 minute span. And like you said, go for the trial. If they don't say, oh, I don't have a trial, suggest it. And most tutors will say, okay, well, if anything, you can pay for the trial, but it'll be part of the first. If you stay with me, it'll be part of the payment for, like, say, the official session. So they will take that money off. So basically, you'll a small discount. Some people do it, some people don't. But again, just like you said, you don't want to like get someone, stick with them for a whole month, and your child is like, I don't want to do tutoring anymore.
Yeah,
And then you're trying to
exactly.
encourage, it's like, no, 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 it's okay. Just give it a try, because you're thinking this person's charging $20 an hour. Yeah, it works for our budget. And you're like, I don't like her. It's all kinds of crazy. But it is always best to find that person that connects. And like you said, you have parents that talk. There's a lot of parents out there that they don't know, because a lot of the schools are not going to be promoting the tutors. So you're going to have to do a little of a Google search, or you might need to go on Facebook, because a lot of us are on Facebook
Hmm.
or Instagram. Those, if you ever wanted to go, small plug. Also TikTok, hell, this crazy chick right here. She's on TikTok. Do not judge me on my stuff.
I
Okay.
don't. Never.
So, if anything, this is awesome. We thought we were just going to be on here for like maybe 15 minutes, and we're rolling on 25. Why not?
Well,
But in closing, which is great, what are some coming attractions for you? Like, what are some of any sessions available, or are you doing anything? What's coming up?
yeah. So what's coming up? I'm going to start doing some daytime tutoring. So, kind of like maybe from like 1 o'clock or something like that. So that would probably help anybody that's over on your side of the pond if they were doing, home, I don't know what they call it over there, homeschooling, home
Home and
education,
hospital or
whatever.
homeschool?
Yeah.
Hmm.
So if they're doing that, then they might want to book me. So the power of the internet, I'm here, I can be anywhere really. Which is so fantastic, isn't it?
Right. It's awesome, because I mean, she has availability. Yes, we have to like, attest to the time zone difference. But just like she said, if you are like a homeschool parent of a young child, and let's be honest, you want a break. You love your babies, but you're like, I want my babies to do something educational while I am, I don't know, tending to a laundry or something else. Why not reach out to Kara and just get everything situated? Now, how you can reach her, you can either reach her by email. Let me see if I can make it as a ticker. So it'll be on the bottom. Look at all this fancy
Yeah, look
schmancy
at
stuff.
that. How'd
Okay.
you
I
do
know. Look
that?
at it. So entertaining. This is big time. So you can reach her on an email. If not, you can also reach her on her Facebook. This is like a private Facebook, but you can definitely go under what is it? The Just to Imagine. Is
Just to
that for your
Imagine
Facebook?
Tutors, yeah. I'm also
Okay.
my website, it's really easy to remember. Cara Primary Tutor, Kara primarytutor.com.
There you
So,
go.
it's easy. That's an easy one to remember. So, and probably if you typed in Cara Cook, you probably would find me if you put in tutor as well.
Right. And then definitely reach out. If not, you're just still looking around, you're still wondering, do not wait. So, if one suggestion, if I have for anybody, regardless if you need math or English, parents, please, I know it's hard, but take a moment to read with your child. That will help tremendously. Let them have the love for books as well as you're making that special connection. Literally 15 minutes doing some guidance. If you're just like, I can't, go ahead, reach out for Cara. She'll do
Yeah.
it for you, and there's no shame in the game whatsoever because I
No,
think a lot of
absolutely
people
not. I
think,
mean, there's no shame
oh,
in asking for help. And
no,
if you start, like you said, if you start sooner rather than later, before your child has an actual problem, then you're ahead of the game. They're going to learn how to read, or make sure that their skills in maths are really good, and they'll be so much better off as well in school.
okay. So while we're closing up, if you do have a comment or if you have anything that you want to share with Cara, go ahead and put it into the comments. And again, if you are watching it live, hit hashtag live. If you're watching the replay, hit hashtag replay because it helps with the algorithm. So, and if you are a tutor, and I'm going to still leave your information up there, it's just piece in case anybody wants your email address. But if you're a tutor and you're looking for a home, especially those that are math tutors, math teachers thinking about making the transition, and you want to have like a safe space, go ahead and go to From the Classroom to Online Tutoring. It's a virtual community that I have developed. Right now, we're 160 people strong. Yes.
Ooh.
And still growing because I got a couple people earlier today. It's a place just to get resources, it's a place to get help. And when I see people that are looking for tutors, I reach out. I reach out to my networking. You get to meet other people, not just in your particular state, maybe all around the world. We have from the Philippines, we have from India, England, throughout the United States. It's starting to become worldwide, which is really cool. So if anything, let me check the comments. Okay, we have someone that's saying a great presentation. That's the one thing about StreamYard. I wish they could put just everyone's Facebook news. And there's another one. Thank you for sharing. And here's another person. Oh, I love this growth. Thank
Aw.
you. And I think Miss Ellen, Elaine, if you haven't met Elaine, she is
Oh, I
fabulous.
do know of her. I know she's over in
Oh, yes.
Ireland. Yeah.
She is amazing, and she has a new book out too, so I know one day we're gonna have to chit chat with her and see if I can get her on as well, and it's just a really and this is what happens. You meet people from all over. You get that opportunity, and then I'm starting to do more events. One of the events is for brand new tutors or even people that are thinking about tutoring. I have a Q&A session starting on Saturday at 11 a.m. this Saturday. So if you come and join the group, I can share the link that way. And also, I've been doing some brainstorming sessions, and then I'm going to do a collab session for those that are current tutors that
Okay.
just want to help organize their business, because I want to make sure that you guys are presenting your best selves. So, like the one example that Cara mentioned is to see a video, like for
Yeah.
them, for parents to get your opportunity. There is no escape from it, people. I'm looking right into the camera
Yeah,
now.
I've got mine
No
out
escape.
live on my website. So as soon as you pop on my homepage, there I am. And I'm
There
also
it
on
is.
I'm on YouTube as well. I need to do a bit more of that, but it's
It's
coming.
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 It's coming. And you're doing the best that you can. But right now, we want to help service as many kids as we can possibly. So, in conclusion, thank you so much, Kara, for coming by for Two Tutors Talking. I greatly appreciate you in this time.
Oh, thank you so much. I've had a fantastic time. I'm so happy to be here with you. So thank you so
Yes,
much for
and you're
having me.
not a problem. And thank you for the ones that are here. There's about like 4 or 5 all are here, but also there's some on LinkedIn as well. But again, do
Ooh.
not hesitate whatsoever if you do need a tutor. It's the time of year. A lot of people are starting to seek out. The pandemic gap is a real thing. I had to say it that slowly to really push the pen. Okay.
It
So
definitely
thanks
is.
again and have a lovely day, guys. See you guys next week. My birthday week.
Ooh.